Greetings. First off, give thanks and praise to the Most High. Give thanks for life. The reason why we give thanks that if it weren't for our parents, we wouldn't be here right now, and that's why we give thanks. Again, we have to give thanks to Brother Tony for creating a space for us to express ourselves. And Tony's one of the greatest men I know. Um, Probably one of the greatest men in the world, but people don't really know about him still. But people will get to know about him anyway, because he's great. Anyway, Shakira, I keep my sister. You look so lovely and relaxed, you know?
Thank
You know? But Shakira, we know you have inside the house, and we want you to talk about the kind of works you do. And also, I know you're involved in a book we're putting together, where you're contributing your thing about relationship and your thing about sex and so forth, yeah? So just reach out to us and let people know about you and the kind of stuff you do.
you. Okay, well, I'm Shakira. I'm the owner of the FL Medical Clinic. I set up the clinic in 2012 because I was kind of dissatisfied with the service I was getting from the National Health Service. I felt that as someone who was suffering from quite well, I wouldn't say it was severe. In my case, I was told it was mild. I was diagnosed with systemic lupus 35 years ago, and at first I didn't get a diagnosis straight away. It took about, I would say, 10 years for me to get a diagnosis of lupus. I was tested for everything under the sun, MS, rheumatoid arthritis, every autoimmune disorder that there was, I was tested for it. And I was told that they couldn't find anything. They didn't know what it was. They told me I had some form of rheumatism. So I was put on basically anti-inflammatory painkillers, which they give out to a lot of people who have autoimmune disorders. They give that for the pain. There's nothing much you could do for someone who has an autoimmune disorder. Well, that's what they told me. It was incurable. There was no cure for it, and I was told that basically it's something that I would just have to live with. The only thing that they offered to me at the time was steroid medication. So I was put on steroids for the pain. Also, I had what they call a discoid rash, which affected my scalp. I still have the lesions today. I still suffer from a bit of discoid lupus, but it's not as active as when I first was diagnosed with it. So all of that and what I went through with the doctors, and you know, it was really bad for me at the time because I had 3 young sons, and having to cope with my illness and bringing up my children. I was also a single parent. I didn't have any support. So, you know, having to, you know, suffer with all the side effects of the lupus, it was quite a very emotional journey for me. I didn't tell anybody about it. My family, I think, it's only up until recently, in the last 2 years, I've actually opened up to my family and told them that this is what I have. I've had it all these years. They didn't know I had it because I hid it. It was something that I didn't want anybody to sort of treat me like if I was an invalid or I was disabled. I didn't want that stigma attached to it. With work and things, I didn't tell my employers when I was working that I had lupus, because I felt that if they knew that I had this autoimmune disorder, that where sometimes I'd be so ill I couldn't get out of bed, that they wouldn't want to employ me. So I hid that from them, and it was okay. The days that I was not very well, it's normally at the weekends. I think, you know, like when the weekend catches up with you, when you've been going through like the whole week just getting on with things, and then when you stop moving, then everything seems to just like come on top of you. And that went on for years. So it led me to investigating ways of treating myself and trying to find a cure for my own lupus. So in doing that, I decided that I'd like to get into holistic health. So I started studying nutritional therapy. I studied most of all the different complementary therapies you can have out there. I did flower remedies, aromatherapy. I tried everything that I could get my hands on in trying to cure myself from the excessive tiredness and the joint pains, but you know, sometimes they helped and other times they didn't. So for a while, for a good few years, I didn't do anything. I couldn't work because I was very ill. But one day I decided that, you know what, there's people out there who haven't got limbs, there's people who can't see, you know, there's people out there who have far worse medical conditions than I did. And I saw a program with this young lady and I thought, well, if she can do that and she's got no arms, then, you know, maybe I wasn't trying hard enough with my own health issues. So along the way, I decided that, you know what, I'm going to set up my own health and wellness clinic because I wanted to be able to pass on all the information that I found for myself that helped me make myself better, and also to help other people who were going through the same thing. Because unless you've had an autoimmune disorder, you don't actually know what it's like.
Okay then, this can't lead on neatly now because obviously, you know, over the period of time, 'cause I think I've known you probably just about a year now, I think. And when I first get to meet with you, I was quite impressed with information you have around health. You know, I was very impressed with you, and also we identify you as someone who like to be involved in the project what we're trying to put together. Yeah. You know, because as you know, we put a book called Redefine Relationship How to Find a Good Black Man, a Good Black Woman. Yeah, and I know that you know you've done some research.
Oh yeah, I did a lot of research. I mean, I was quite glad to be asked to take part in the book, and the subject area that I've chosen is something that is of a lot of interest to me, always has been. It's one of those areas where a lot of people don't really like to talk about, don't want to talk about, too shy to talk about, but because of all my experiences in that area, it's something that I find quite easy to talk about. I don't have no problems talking about that thing called sex.
Sex, okay.
So that is what I'll be talking about. That's the area I'll be covering.
Okay then. I mean, you were talking about certain position with sex or what?
Oh no, I mean I think people get it wrong. When you start talking about sex, I think people have got it all wrong. Like I'm going to be talking about sex and, you know, in the way of like the physical thing of sex, but no. What I'm going to be covering is sexual styles.
Oh, sexual styles.
Yeah,
okay.
love styles.
Okay.
A little bit about problems people have with getting into intimate relationships. There's something called sexual anorexia, which is basically, you know, like how people have this aversion to food and they basically won't eat, won't touch it. They feel that they see it in a negative way. Well, in relationships, some people, because of bad experiences and other things, they are fearful of becoming intimate with someone. They'll start a relationship, but because they have this block, it doesn't get any further. And they'll make excuses as to why they can't do this, why you can't touch them, and in the end, normally those relationships, they fall apart.
They fall apart, yeah.
And also sexual styles, love styles.
Okay then. So, I don't know if you do any work with individuals where, for example, I just said that this particular person, you know, she will don't want to have sex because there's certain anxieties or whatever. I mean, how would you clear the blockage, or is that something you do, or how would you?
Well, I think that when it comes down to, I think it's lack of communication. A lot of people go into relationships and they don't talk about sex. You know, some people think that you can't just go into a relationship and start talking about.
Hello.
Hello, it's
So-
filming himself. Sorry, yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah, sorry, someone just rudely just come. Go on, go on.
It's like they don't like talking about sex because it's something that they feel embarrassed about, or they, you know, it's that kind of taboo subject. Sorry, it's,
Is that your phone?
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
What?
Okay, go on, go on, go on.
Anyway, so I think that before someone goes into a relationship, men and women, I think they should think about the type of relationships they want, what they want from it, and and consider all those things first before you just jump in there. Because you know what, people meet, you meet someone and you like that person or you fancy that person, so you want to get to know that person, and it just, you kind of like just fall into it. You know, you start dating and none of the stuff that is going to come out once you're in that relationship is actually thought about in the first place. It's not something that you address. You're not going to ask somebody, so what type of lover are you? You know, like, you know, are you, you know, you kind of freaky, or you know, like whatever. You don't, people don't ask those things.
Right.
And so you might get a couple in a relationship where one or either of them, they're very liberated sexually, where the other person isn't. So there's that kind of clash. And if you find that out later on, that you're incompatible, it doesn't matter whether you've got a great relationship, there's a lot of love in that person, is wonderful. That particular area, it's like, it will cause problems when you actually find out that you're so incompatible. Sometimes you can work around it, and it's an area where it can be fixed. It's not an area where you can't fix whatever is going on there.
Okay, but I mean that will come down to the more comfortable you become with the with your partner, I would imagine, because like I said, in fact we do have someone inside the house who is who deals these things there. So when she come out after, she can probably correct us any misinformation being said, because that's our area to talk about relationships. But would it come down to, well, not say come down to, would it be a case where both of you could be comfortable with each other? You know, when it comes to sex, you could both be, one might be very liberated, very, you know, open with all that stuff there, and, you know, the other person might be a bit shy, or something going on in the past and so forth. So, like, it does come to communication, but you've got to build that kind of relationship with that person. They're going to be comfortable with you. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
that's the trouble though. People don't allow themselves to get to know someone and to get comfortable
okay, then.
with someone before they start all this intimacy.
Yeah.
I think people rush into intimacy too soon in a relationship, and that's what causes the problem. I think if you gave yourself a little bit of time to get to know somebody, I mean, it's something that's going to happen, you know, sooner or later. It's inevitable, you know, it's part of a relationship. So if you've got any hang-ups and issues and things like that, a lot of people, you're not going to address them at the beginning. Most people are not going to say, they're going to hide those kind of things. And if you've had, like, been in abusive relationships, or you've got any kind of issues around sexuality,
It's true.
you're not going to broach those things
Yeah,
with a new partner.
Yeah. So would you say that someone needs to go through counselling?
I think that when you come out of one relationship that has been it's fallen apart badly, or you've had any kind of issues like that, you have to deal with those issues. You have to address those issues. If you need healing time, you have to do that as
I think
well.
the key word you said is healing. You know, you do need healing time, and I think there's one sister was saying that healing comes in all different kind of forms because, for example, massage is that all part of healing because a certain thing was locked into your body and massage can have to get it out. Talking is part of healing. You know, just talk to someone you feel comfortable with, get that stuff out, you can work things through. And there's, you know, so much, I mean, writing is a form of healing. Don't get it right, just write. And also, talking about abusive relationship, sister was talking about, and she was with me when we were talking about this on the radio the other day, where this sister was been abused, and she was talking about what helped her. She went to a drama group, and that kind of helped to heal her and act out some of the stuff we've been through, and all that stuff started to come out and everything. So yeah, you know, healing, you know, is part of the process, you know. So and you know, once, you know, drum might be right for you, but writing might be good for you. You know what I mean? So you got to find what we. But at the end of the day, it's about healing. Get that stuff that's got to come out, you know, etc. The question I'm gonna ask you now, when it comes to relationship, right? You know, to find out, you know, a good black man, a good black woman. What's your perspective on that? Let's throw you on the spot.
What's my perspective on that?
Not expecting. How do you find a good black man, a good black woman?
I
We've got about 3 minutes
I
left.
think you have to just take your time when you meet somebody. If you think that there's a possibility that there could be something, I think you need to get to know that person before you decide whether that person is a good person, a decent person. You can't know that at the beginning.
No,
It's
no.
impossible, you know. And sometimes people would put a front on, and then after you get to know them, it drops. It doesn't last. So there's no point in pretending to be someone that you're not, because in the end it's just gonna come out.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think people do put their best foot forward, you know. You want people to see you in that kind of good light, you know.
Okay then. We've got about a minute left, so give out your telephone number. Yeah,
Okay, the telephone number,
so people can contact
if
you.
anyone wants to contact me, it's 0800 860 0087. That's a free phone number.
Oh, go with that again. One time.
0800 860 0087, and the mobile number is 07 947 907 604.
Okay, then Shakira, give thanks. This is your life. Rude.